It's quite the find. Hello friends, and welcome back to Crow's Thrifty Finds. My name is Melanie. So this week's video is kind of an observational video, if you will. And then I'll be kind of listing some tips connected. So this is my observation. This has been the worst week for sales on eBay that I have had in, I don't even know how long, like years, possibly. I can't remember the last time. I have not had a sale since Saturday. It has been a very, very, very dry week. And I'm asking myself kind of why this is. Maybe it's just a slow down time of year. But January was so good. Like January was just amazing. And it just gave me this, apparently false hope that, it was going to continue like that. And I mean, my store has 400 and something items in it. So, I mean, it's, not a humongous store, but I mean, I've got a good amount of inventory. And I think a lot of it right now is actually pretty darn good. Like, it's not like I feel like I have a bunch of junk. Like, I don't know if you ever feel that way. Like, there's days where I felt like my whole store is junk. That's why nobody's buying it, but that's not necessarily true, but that's just the way I feel, but I don't feel that way right now. I feel like I've got some really good stuff and I'm just perplexed that I'm not getting sales. But when this kind of thing happens, there are things that you can do to make it better. And there are things that I'm about to do because I need to make it better. So I'm going to go through the list with you. It's not a huge list, but it's just some tips to help you if your eBay store is really dead like mine and you're poking at it with the stick and it's not doing anything. Like, come on. So here's what we can do for that. So tip number 1, you need to list. You need to list as often as you can. I mean, really daily is kind of best. And the reason for this is the algorithm. The eBay algorithm seems to pay attention to your store and seems to push the items out more when you are listing frequently, when things are active in your account. So you want to list and list often. And what I've heard, and this is just kind of word on the street, is that you want to list about 5 items at once. 5, you don't necessarily get better results if you list 10 versus 5. This is what I've heard. But if you're somebody that, has a big store and, listing 10 at once makes sense, go right ahead. But we just want to make sure that we're listing. Above all else, we want to make sure that we are listing as often as possible. Now, it is a slow time of year for me for finding inventory. I do have a little bit of a death pile that I can probably dig into, but the more you list, the better. I listed last a few days ago, and it didn't result in anything. Normally it does, but I haven't listed since then, and I imagine if I kept listing daily, that would help. So you got to keep having inventory, but yes, you need to list. And if you have death pile inventory, get that dead stuff out and bring it to life and list it, because that helps keep your eBay account alive and shown and active in the algorithm of eBay. So list and then list again. Another thing is they say that when you're listing, also listing more, valuable items. Like if you're listing like 5 like $1 items, it may not activate the algorithm as much. This is just rumors that I've heard, but I just stick with this stuff. So you want to try to find some decently valued items. I look at it as like $20 or more. I don't really know what the actual, rhyme or reason to it is, but yeah, if you're hurting for sales, try to break out those pricier items and list at least 5. So that is tip number 1. List, and then list some more. Got it? Okay. Tip number 2. Now, this is a tip that's been going around on some of the Facebook groups. By the way, if you haven't joined my Facebook group, feel free to do so. It is called Crow's Thrifty Finds. eBay resellers group. It's a really great group of people. We've already kind of got a little connection started. It's really nice. It's a smaller community. It's awesome. It's been great. So thank you to all who have been watching that have already joined, and we'd love to have more. But yeah, we throughout my time on other Facebook groups related to reselling, a lot of people have talked about the power of ending an item that has been listed more than 30 days and relisting and selling as similar, and then going through and slightly changing the listing. So for me, I slightly change the listing by slightly changing the price, and I'll usually take the price down. And just depending on the item would be depending on how much down I go. Like I might go 50 cents if it's a, not so expensive item, but if it's something that's been sitting for a while and maybe I might have it overpriced, maybe I'll take $10 off, who knows? Depends on the item. But the idea is by refreshing these listings, it gets them more active again in the almighty eBay algorithm. So we want to keep things active. So once you realize you've got those listings, you're getting that red countdown, at that point, you want to start relisting, sell similar, do your listing again, make a revision, and see what happens. But a lot of the times, I know when I first heard this tip, I did my whole inventory and I saw amazing results. I saw a ton of sales by doing that. So this does something. Like I can speak from experience. Like this is a tried and true method. So you want to keep your inventory fresh. Even if it's been listed for years on eBay, we want to relist. Now, here's the thing. I know there may be some of you who are saying, well, I can only do so many because I don't have an eBay store. So eBay will charge me if I do relist too many because you've got limits in your month. So you have to be kind of mindful of that if you don't have an eBay store. That's partly why I got an eBay store, because it ends up being well worth it in the end. But that was the original thing that got me finally to commit to the store. But it's very helpful to be able to list more by having a store. So end and relist any old inventory 30 days or older. Tip number 3, check out your inventory. Do you have stuff overpriced? Because that may be the issue too. So maybe an item hasn't been listed, a full 30 days, but maybe, it just needs a little evaluation mid-month and saying, hey, you know what? I need to lower the price on this. And you know what I like to go back and look at too is how much I've been listing for shipping, because I know sometimes I've kind of overcalculated on shipping to be safe, but in cases like that, somebody may not be buying my item because of the shipping cost. So sometimes just looking at the shipping cost is helpful. And also just going and looking at sold comps for that particular item, seeing what the ones that are selling are going for. Because, a lot of times we look things up and, we see sold comps. So it's not in theory that our item can't sell for that price, but then time goes by and maybe the value of something drops. So we want to make sure that we're going up with the trends with what these items cost. Because, sometimes items decrease in value, but you didn't get the memo. So you want to, every once in a while, look into your inventory and just in general, because, if you're only lowering the item, $2 when you're refreshing your listing every 30 days, you still may be overcharging for that item if the trends are going down in price. So got to look at that once in a while and definitely double check your shipping to make sure that isn't the reason. Free shipping does entice people, even if you up the price of the product. There's some magic that happens when you have free shipping. Now, I do not have free shipping on all of my items, but sometimes if there's a lot of items listed and I want to list competitively, I will do free shipping. So it just kind of depends on the item. So while I'm saying this, I don't always do it, but I do know that free shipping, especially if there's a lot of an item, it can be make yours more enticing. Like when I sold that Stanley tumbler recently, I feel like I've been talking about that a lot, but when I sold that Stanley tumbler, I did free shipping because there was a lot of those listed, and I knew that I'd have a better chance of getting mine to sell if I offered free shipping and competitive pricing. So there you go. So that's kind of the gist of what you can do to get your eBay store more seen, get better chances of people buying stuff. And I'm going to work on all of these things. Actually, I kind of already started earlier today, but I'm going to keep working at it. And in hopes that I have a more successful weekend, because I'm definitely a little disheartened. Feel free to leave a comment if you've had a rough sales week as well after having a great January. I know some folks in my group were saying that, in my Facebook group were saying that. But yeah, I'd love to hear from more of you, and any words of encouragement are always appreciated. I was kind of embarrassed to make this video. Like, I debated if I was going to do this video or not. I actually reached out to Wicked Flipping Junk and asked him, like, if he thought that it was good for me to do this video. And he said that it was a good, it was a good thing. So, and it is good to have, an honest, video like this, because I think there's this image that a lot of resellers, make these like grandiose videos of, look at all the wonderful things I did. But, sometimes we have to be real, because it's really not all sunshine and rainbows every day on eBay. It just isn't. Like, we can make it look that way, but, honestly, sometimes you just have rough times. And I was embarrassed that I have had an entire week of no sales, like very embarrassed. Like, I'm like, is my eBay store turned off? Like, what happened? So I'm just being real with you all. But thank you all for watching. Please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. That really, really helps. That'll make me feel better. And also like the video. Love to have you all leaving comments as well. And I will talk to you all soon. I'll see you hopefully next week. And in the meantime, this is Melanie with Crow's Thrifty Finds.